Welcome back, YouTube. Today we will be reviewing episode 2 of season 2 of the Netflix original hit series, The Witcher. But before we get into The Witcher, please consider this your spoiler warning, because I will be talking spoiler-ish somewhat. So you've been warned. So we pick up after episode 1 with Yennefer being captured by some elves, it seems like. It felt a little bit Lord of the Ring-ish, a little bit. I know in season 1 there was a lot of attachments to Disney themes and stuff like that, just like I thought this would be, episode 1 was, with a little bit of the Beauty and the Beast aspect, or at least the Beast part of it, right? This one felt very Robin Hoodish though too, a little bit mixed up. But anyway, so they're being captive, and there's this new character that we get introduced to, and they're having like these visions, right? Like these 3 witches are having these weird dreams that kind of go together, and they kind of join into some like a witch group, right? And I don't know, maybe I'm thinking of Hocus Pocus, but maybe there was a story where these 3 witches were getting together. But anyways, so they end up, we follow them, and this episode cuts back and forth, which is good. They did that in season 1, and we're only really following 2 stories, which is Geralt and Ciri, and Yennefer's flight or from being captive in this episode. I felt a little lost, as you guys well know if you follow my channel and follow my reviews of The Witcher. I've never played the video game. I'm not familiar with any of the lore. For a standstill episode, I found it entertaining. I know from a couple of fans after I posted my episode 1 review, they went off of saying, "Oh, you're not going to enjoy it. Season 2... only the first episode was enjoyable. Everything else was garbage." And though I found this episode a little bit boring, pacing wise was a little bit bad, I still was highly entertained in the world that I'm seeing for the first time in my eyes. I don't have anything to compare it to, but I'm finding it enjoyable. I know a lot of diehard fans are not enjoying this season, or have already watched it all the way through and are not enjoying it. But anyways, I am. Going back to the story, so I'm really more entertained and more interested in Geralt and Ciri. They have kind of like this, father-daughter kind of a relationship. Even though, like, I really don't know, but that's what it seems like, right? He really wants to protect her. So basically, just to finish up on the Yennefer real quick, so she's having visions, and we find out towards the end, we don't know if her powers went away, because under some kind of dream, I don't know. It goes back to like season 1, where she was learning that she was, had powers, but maybe she lost them, maybe she didn't. We don't know. We just end the episode with her screaming. But that's such a boring storyline for me, or a boring arc for me, that I'm not invested in that. I'm super more invested, like I said, in Geralt and Ciri's kind of bond and journey. And in this one, in Gerald's ever quest to keep Ciri safe, he goes back home, right? And I can't pronounce this hometown, but it's called Caer Morhen. I'm butchering it, I'm sure. But he basically goes back where there's a ton of witchers, and we get introduced to some new witches, like their hometown or their secret base, basically. And it was cool to see, when you get interact with when different witchers. As you guys know, one thing I do know from the game, it's not the same witcher that we see Geralt in. It's kind of an offshoot. So it's just letting you know, like, hey, there's many witchers, which they could take the story in many ways. But it was fun to see. And then so he gets in contact with Geralt's father figure, the one that kind of took him in, the one that kind of taught him how to be the Witcher. And they have these moments, him and his like father figure, about being a dad. Why did he rescue Ciri? Why did Geralt, use the, I can't remember what they call it, but the code of surprise or something like that. Like, is he prepared to take on this guardian role, even though he knows that everyone is coming after or looking for Ciri? And that's why I said you kind of get like this father figure role. And when they're in his hometown of Morhen, you know, one of his Witcher friends gets stabbed by like the only way I could say it is Groot because there was like this hand that he brought and he was I fought this tree thing and it's basically Groot as the way I saw it. And then so he ends up switching to a tree form or a Groot, and Geralt has to defeat him. You know, as this monster, so he has to kind of choose between his friend and his father figure, and obviously he chooses, or his brother and his father figure, and he ends up choosing his father figure because his brother transformed into this, you know, tree-like monster is killing him and choking him. So, you know, Geralt has to do the ultimate decision and kill his brother for the sake of his father. And towards the end of the episode, you know, Geralt's starting to realize what kind of world he's in, where not even in where you think it can be safe, you be safe? And because he was so close to being defeated, if it wasn't for his father figure to come and rescue him, Ciri will be right back in, you know, being left unguarded. And at the end, he starts training her, which I'm assuming is gonna pay off in episode 3 or episode 4. But he's gonna say, hey, you have to, or as I took it, is he's basically showing Ciri like, hey, you have to take your own survival in your own hand because there might be a time in the future that I'm not here with you. So very, very powerful ending, and I'm really looking forward to seeing where they carry it off. In episode 3, all in all, I thought it was great acting. I thought that the music was really, you know, spot on. And I think I'm going to continue saying that. Or maybe I should just stop saying that. I thought it was really good in season 1. I'm sure it's going to be good in season 2. But I thought the acting was on point. There's way too much, though, cutting, and you know, this Marvel style of cutting that shows are doing now. I don't think The Witcher needs to do that. I think I hope they realize it and do more continuous shots that makes The Witcher that much more enjoyable and different from other properties. And again, this episode did have some pacing issues. I found myself looking at my phone a little bit because there was a lot of dialogue. And like most seasons, there, you know, in the beginning, there is going to be this setup. There are going to be these episodes that are throwaway episodes that are basically a lot of exposition, right? They're going to just lay the foundation for what you're about to see. So I'll give it a pass. Highly enjoyable. Again, I know people are going to give me or trash me because I am not a diehard Witcher fan. I don't know the lore. I don't know the video game. And they'll be like, oh, you don't know what you're talking about, blah, 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 blah. And you know what? You are entitled to your own opinion. I do not hold it against you. So don't hold my opinion against me. But anyways, those are just my thoughts. I would love to hear your thoughts down in the comments. And like always, that's a wrap.